Hi and welcome to Chef's Gear. Today I'm taking you to France, so stay tuned. Alright, so as always, let's start with a cocktail. And it doesn't get any more classic than today. Because we're gonna do the Blue Lagoon, made for the first time in 1972 in Harry's New York bar in Paris. So it's slowly disappearing, so I want to bring it back. And it's a very simple cocktail. All you need is some blue curacao, some vodka, lemonade, ice of course, and some lemons for the juice and garnish. So let's get started. I'm going to use my hands. I know it's not very professional, but it's me who's going to drink it anyway, so I don't mind. You're going to need a measure of 2 of vodka, and the recipe varies when you check it on the internet. There's like lots of versions of this drink, but I reckon because it's a long drink, it's a large drink, it's always more is better, right? So 2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of blue curacao. For those of you who don't know, blue curacao is a liquor made of lemon zest, so it's nice and citrusy and fresh. There you go, 1 measure goes in. You're gonna need a dash of lemon juice, so just like that. Out it goes. And of course some barkeeps will hate me for using this device, but trust me, if you need your hands during service, this actually is a lifesaver. So you just pop it in, shake it, that's good enough. Ice in the glass, the more the better. Use a strainer, everything goes in. And you just top it up with some lemonade. There you go. Let's have a sip. Yeah, that's good. So for today's dish, I planned a cassoulet. And if you're watching my channel and you know my cooking, I rather dislike dishes that take too long to cook. So if you check out the recipes on the internet, you'll see the dish requires soaking the beans for at least 12 hours, so overnight. Then it requires to cook a confit duck, so another 6 hours. I'll show you a simpler version, much quicker, although the flavors will be just as good, if not better. Alright, so for this dish we're gonna need some onions, some white beans, some pork meat, some bacon, tomatoes, I already diced them up, good quality garlic sausage, celery, about 2 stalks for this amount of meat, some carrots, garlic and cloves, and to finish, we're going to use some confit duck. Talking about confit duck, you can, as I said, do it yourself. It just takes about 3 to 6 or even more longer hours. Just basically very slowly cook it in oil, but you can buy them already. I've done it yesterday, so I have it all ready by now. So first, let's turn the stove on, set the temperature. You just need some sort of like a middle heat. Put some olive oil in, so the solid dash. And when the oil is hot, I'm going to put all my meats in. Alright, so in it goes. That's the pork. That's the bacon. Sausage. And you want to caramelize it a little bit. So while the meat is cooking, we're waiting for the meat to get caramelized. Let me just tell you a few words about this dish. Originally, of course, it's from Toulouse. But there's like totally different ingredients, whether you go west or east or south or north. One common thing is to use beans, white beans. When the meat is slightly caramelized, I think it's getting there. All right, that's the time where you can add all your vegetables, as in onions, celery, and carrots. They need to go in early on. Just stir it through, and you don't want to caramelize them, you want to sweat them. So as soon as you see they go a little bit translucent, that's the time for the next ingredient, but let's give it 1 more minute. Okay, and once you see the celery stalks and the onions are nice and glassy, that's where you can put your tomatoes in. 2 ripe tomatoes, de-seeded, just give it a stir. That's where you can put your garlic in, about 2 cloves of garlic, it's probably enough. As you can see, the vegetables have released the juices already, so they sort of like deglazing the pot already. And now it's time for the beans. Just chuck them in. As you can see, it's kind of dry for a stew, which it basically is. So I'm usually top it up with a little bit of water. And if it comes to the amount of water, I'm gonna add just enough water to cover all the ingredients. And I'm gonna reduce it down. But before I do that, I'm gonna add some cloves. I'm using only 2 or 3 for this pot because they tend to overpower the whole dish and you don't want that. And I'm gonna use what we call a bouquet garni. I probably totally butchered the pronunciation, but what you basically do, you take some herbs. I have some thyme, some oregano, some rosemary, some parsley in it. And we're gonna chuck that in to release that flavor. But you don't want to serve that to your guests, so have it on a string. And of course, just to make it a little bit more flavorful, I'm gonna add a pork rind from the bacon. And as you can see, that's the first time I'm gonna season it, all right? So I'm gonna use a lot of pepper. Espolette pepper would be perfect, but I have black pepper, freshly cracked. You can use quite a lot of it. Some salt. Be careful with the salt. And now you just want to slowly reduce it down to a stew. All right, so that's gonna need probably another, well, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, the cassoulet is right where I want it. If you want it thicker, you just need to reduce it down a little bit further. If you want it soupier, the only thing is you just need to check your meat. If it's nice and tender and falling apart, it's pretty much ready. Okay, so first, let's just discard the bouquet garni. That goes in the bin. Make sure you find out the pork rind. That goes in the bin as well. The next step is just to finish the dish. So I'm gonna take it off the heat. I'm gonna put it on a large pan, spread it all over the pan. All right, so spread it all around. Take your duck legs. This is gonna be a portion for 4. So I'm gonna do 4. Take the breadcrumbs and just sprinkle it all over the dish. It's about 2 tablespoons, and that goes straight in the salamander. All right, that is ready. What it needs now is a bit of garnish. So let's take some rosemary sprigs, spread it all across. This will release nice aroma. Get some fresh thyme on it, just like so. Maybe some parsley, just a little bit for color. And that's pretty much it. That's my version of the cassoulet. So let me know in the comments, what's your version? Of course, if you like the recipe, just hit the like button. If you want to see more, just hit subscribe. I thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope I see you next time.